Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Wow, so loud. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Nice to see you. We're continuing reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 20. I have it on my phone, but she has the book now? Hast du das Buch? Okay. So let's just wait so we can recite together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Cheva Narottamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhatreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Wie weit sind wir schon? Eine Linie, no? So we can do the word Sa Vai Patihi Syad Akutto Bhaya Swayam Samantataha Pati Bhayaturam Janam Sa Eka Evetarata Mito Bhayam Na Eva Atmalabhat Adhi Manyate Param. Savaipati Savaipati Syat Akuto Bhaya Swayam. Savaipati Syat Akuto Bhaya Swayam. Samantata Pati Bhayaturam Janam. Samantata Pati Bhayaturam Janam. Saeka eve tarata mito bhayam. Saeka eve tarata mito bhayam. Naivatma labhat adhimanyate param. Naivatmalabhad adhimanyate param. Savaipati syat akuto bhaya swayam. Samantata pati bhayaturam janam. Saeka eve taratamito bhayam. Naivatmalabhad adhimanyate param. Please chant. Savaipati syadakuto bhaya swayam. Samantata pati bhayaturam janam. Saeka eve taratamito bhayam. Naivatmalabhat. Ladies. Saha, he, vai, indeed, patihi, a husband, syat, would be, akutabhayaha, who is not fearful of anyone, swayam, self-sufficient, samam tattaha, entirely, pati, maintains, bhaya aturam, who is very afraid, janam, a person, saha, therefore he, ekaha, one, eva, only, itaratha, otherwise, mittaha, from one another, bhayam, fear, na, not, eva, indeed, atmalabhad, then the attainment of you, adhi, greater, manyate, is accepted, param, other thing. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. He alone who is never afraid, but who, on the contrary, gives complete shelter to all fearful persons, can actually become a husband and protector. Therefore, my Lord, you are the only husband, and no one else can claim this position. If you were not the only husband, you would be afraid of others. Therefore, persons learned in all Vedic literature accept only your lordship as everyone's master, and they think no one else a better husband and protector than you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here the meaning of husband or guardian is clearly explained. People want to become a husband, a guardian, a governor, or a political leader without knowing the actual meaning of such a superior position. There are many people all over the world, indeed throughout the universe, who claim for some time that they are husbands, political leaders, or guardians. But in due course of time, the Supreme Lord desires their removal from their posts, and their careers are immediately finished. Therefore, those who are actually learned and advanced in spiritual life do not accept any leader, husband, or maintainer other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna personally states in Bhagavad Gita, Ahang tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Krishna is not afraid of anyone. On the contrary, everyone is afraid of Krishna. Therefore, he can actually give protection to a subordinate living entity. Since so-called leaders or dictators are completely under the control of material nature, they can never give complete protection to others, although they claim this ability due to false prestige. Nate vidu svarta gatim hi Vishnum. People do not know that the real advancement in life consists of accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one's master, instead of deceiving themselves and others by pretending to be all-powerful. All political leaders, husbands, and guardians should spread the Krishna consciousness movement so that everyone can learn how to surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Husband. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadutang Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatade Shatarine. Savaipati syat akuto bhaya swayam samantata bhayaturam janam sa eka eve taratamito bhayam naivatmalabhat adhimanyate param. He alone who is never afraid, but who, on the contrary, gives complete shelter to all fearful persons, can actually become a husband and protector. Therefore, my Lord, you are the only husband, and no one else can claim this position. If you were not the only husband, you would be afraid of others. Therefore, persons learned in all Vedic literature accept only your lordship as everyone's master, and they think no one else a better husband and protector than you. Hare Krishna. Thank you again for coming today. We've just recently been in India on pilgrimage, and we always hear about very exalted devotees when we go to the Holy Dham, which gives us a lot of inspiration to follow in the footsteps and surrender to Krishna. And this time we went to one of the places we went to is Karoli, Srila Radha Madan Mohan. And on the way from Jaipur to Karoli, I was listening to a video of Srila Indradumna Swami, where he speaks about the history of Srila Radha Madan Mohan coming to Karoli. And I'd like to tell one part of this story because it's very nicely related to this verse. These deities of Radha Madan Mohan are very old. They have been established just some years after Krishna left by his great-grandson, Vajranabh. And then they got lost, and then they were found again, and they were worshipped by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan, where they were installed in a beautiful temple. But at some point in India, there were some Muslim rulers, and they were, not all of them actually, there were also Muslim rulers who were very supportive of Vaishnavas, like Akbar. We hear how he was supportive, but there was one Muslim ruler who came after, his name Aurangzeb. He was very demoniac, and he at one point ordered his army to destroy all the temples in Vrindavan. Fortunately, the Vaishnavas in Vrindavan, they heard about this and they made plans to take the deities away and bring them to safe places. And so Radha Madan Mohan and other deities like Govindadev and Gopinath and Radha Damodar, there's also Vinod, Radha Vinod. So many deities, they were brought away, and after a long journey they came to Jaipur, because there was a king, Jai Singh. He was a Vaishnav. Many of these Indian kings, they were devotees of Krishna, and he accepted to take care of these deities. And Jaipur, it's an interesting fact how Jaipur, if you go there today, it's a very busy city. That city was established for the deities. Yes. Before there was no city. Now if you go, it's a nice, big, busy city. That's a step, and it's actually one of the main tourist attractions in India, Jaipur. So that city was established for the protection of these deities. And the King Jai Singh, he was personally taking care of these deities' worship. Especially Govinda Dev became the main Ishtadev. And when we go to Jaipur, we can see how that the temple of Govinda Dev is basically practically in the palace itself of the king. And this Jai Singh, he had one daughter who at some point got into marriageable age, Srila Indra Marsh says she was around 16. And as was the custom then, the children were to be married by the father. And especially for the kings. And not only the kings, all of them, they would try to marry the daughter or the sons to the most suitable husband or wife. And for a king, then there is not so much options. Usually the daughter wouldn't be just married to someone, but to be married to a prince. And Jai Singh, he contacted the king of Karoli. Karoli was another kingdom. And it's interesting also, I did some research, the kings in Karoli, they traced their own lineage back to Vajranabh. You might know this, yeah. So Vajranabh, the great-grandson of Krishna, who continued the dynasty, the Yadu dynasty, where Krishna took birth, is being succeeded by these Karoli kings. And that's also in Rajasthan, close to Vrindavan. And so this king of Karoli had a son, a prince, and they did the horoscope matching, as usually is the first step, and that looked good. And when Jai Singh went to his daughter and told him about the plans, his daughter told to the father that, I have given my heart to Madan Mohan. I don't need to marry. I already have my husband, so to say. I have someone who takes care of me. That was the level of her devotion. Usually, everyone wants to get married, especially girls. We want to have children and a family. But she didn't want to marry. She said, I've given my heart to Madan Mohan. And she exemplifies what is said in this verse, how, and she said apparently that why should I marry a mortal being? He's a prince, okay, but he's a mortal being, why should I marry him? What can he do for me? And still, the father knew that it's his duty to marry the daughter, and he convinced her, and she had one condition to her father, that okay, I will marry him, but only if as a dowry, which was the tradition also, still now is to some degree, but then much more. A dowry, you know what is a dowry? A dowry means the father will give some gift to the prince, meaning the future husband of the daughter. And we hear in the scriptures, usually they give big dowries. They can give 1,000 maidservants and elephants and horses and jewelry and nice cloth and these kind of things. Just some wealth they will give. And she told her father that only on the one condition I will marry, if you give as a dowry Srila Radha Madan Mohan. And yeah.
Even in South India also, Goda Devi marries Rangana.
Who?
Goda Devi. In South India.
Who is Goda Devi?
Goda Devi, she is not different from Lakshmi actually.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he, in his appearance, actually wants to get married with Sri Rangana.
Okay.
There are so
many stories, yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, I'm just saying one story which I just heard. And so that was arranged. Jai Singh then told to the king in Karoli that the marriage can take place, but only on the one condition: if you build a nice temple for Madan Mohan. And that was done. And if you go there today, even again in the palace, there is a beautiful temple. And Madan Mohan then went with the princess to Karoli. And in the Dumna March also says, at the wedding, she basically gave her promise to Madan Mohan, not to her husband. of, now I will accept you as my husband, my protector, my maintainer. She looked at the deity of Madan Mohan and not at her husband. So that's a beautiful example of a person who accepted Krishna as her husband. But we can see in this story how that we always ask ourselves, how do we apply the teachings of scriptures? And when we read such a verse, then let's say, I'm just giving an example now. My husband is anyway, getting on my nerves for a long time. So now that's the confirmation. Let's divorce. Let's get out of here. Let's accept Krishna. Always we have to see what's the application, and often it's a very internal application of that. So she accepted Madan Mohan internally as her husband, but externally she accepted this prince, and we know Bhagavad Gita teaches us the same. We are in this material world and we have certain duties to perform, and it's very complex. Krishna, he says, if you don't perform your duty properly, then other people, they will follow that and they will misapply it. No, to Arjuna, he says. Arjuna knew that Krishna is the protector and he's actually the one who kills everyone, but still Krishna told him, you go and fight. And when he says, Sarva Dharmam Parityacha, Prabhupada also quotes that verse, Sarva Dharmam Parityacha, Mamekam Sharanang Vracha, Ahang Tvang Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishami Mashucha. Sometimes devotees misunderstand this verse. They say, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita and he gave many different levels, but then eventually said Sarva Dharmam Parityacha, so that's the highest level, then you can give up all your duties. But that's not what happened. He said, give up all your duties internally. Yeah, internally, you just accept one duty, to please me. And sometimes Krishna will say, you fight. Sometimes he will say, you marry. Sometimes he will say, you renounce. It's up to Krishna. He can decide what is the supreme dharma at that time. Yeah, so now I lost my train of thought. I actually wanted to speak about something. I just think. Oh yeah, Prabhupada, he gave us the purport, so that's very always so helpful. He gives us some really wonderful insights always. Prabhupada speaks about this quality of being, not Prabhupada, it's in the verse itself, one has to be fearless. And Prabhupada himself was named Abhay Charan, and then later Abhay Charanaravinda. And we hear in the verse that actually there is only one who is fearless, and that is Krishna. And what is said specifically is, if you were not the only husband, you would be afraid of others. So he's the only husband, he's the only Purush, and therefore he's not afraid of anyone, because he knows his position. As soon as there is competitors, you will be afraid.
Yes.
And we see this in the material world. Everyone is afraid. We don't realize often how much fear is shaping our lives. That thought came when I sat down. Fear, it's such a thing in our life. And for example, people, they try to maintain their beauty. You look in the world, there is so much endeavor to maintain your beauty. When old age comes, you get gray hair, you get wrinkles. And the supreme remedy for that would be that you become fearless. Because fear is often the factor that makes you old. You get wrinkles and you gray hair, you're stressed. All these different factors of anxiety in the form of stress, uncertainty. So we should tell people, if you want to become free from wrinkles and maintain your beauty, you surrender to Krishna. Because you see, if you look, if you look at devotees, exalted devotees, they usually look very young and beautiful, even if they're old, because they are not really fearful. If you look at Prabhupada, he was very effulgent and youthful in old age, because he's Abhay Charan, he's not fear, doesn't have any fear. And Prabhupada speaks in the purport about how there is so many of these people in this world who take the position of being that person who protects others, as a husband, as a guardian, as a temple president, as a GBC, as a political leader. And yeah, that's a role. And these people, they claim that position without understanding what it actually means, what's the qualification of being such a leader. And people, they put their faith and trust in these leaders. We can look at the world politics. There's been so many great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Hitler, what was the name of this African? Nelson Mandela. So many, Bob Marley. People who, others, they accepted them as leaders and they put trust that they will actually help us, protect us and maintain us. But all of them are gone. And still we see people, they are attached to these people and their ideas, but they cannot do anything anymore. They're gone. And still nowadays we see Putin and Trump and so many of them. Now many people, they have so much faith in Elon Musk. No, I just read something that they're going to do a huge investment into AI. So he becomes like the supreme protector, because he will bring AI to the next level, and that will make our life better. But it will not be able to save you at the time of death. That no one can do. So therefore it's all illusory, these protectors. And then Prabhupada says in the purport, and this is a question that come up for, let's say I'm a husband, I'm a father, or I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a leader, I have some position, like should I now just give it up and say, actually, I walk out of this temple, actually Krishna is the controller and the protector, what can I do? Just surrender to him. Again, what's the application? And Prabhupada says, what's the application for those who have a leadership position? I'm going to read it again. Instead of deceiving themselves and others by pretending to be all-powerful, all political leaders, husbands and guardians should spread the Krishna consciousness movement so that everyone can learn how to surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Husband. That is the duty of everyone who has such a position, to teach how to surrender to Krishna. Prabhupada, he took that role of a spiritual master. He came to teach us how to surrender to Krishna. It's never about him. He never put himself in the center. He always put Krishna in the center. And he could do that so nicely because he was Abhay Charan. or he is Abhay Charan, he's completely surrendered at the lotus feet. And he knows where one can become fearless. And then he taught others how to do that. And we have come to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, and he's now teaching us how to surrender to Krishna so we can also become fearless. And that's the important point we have to understand if we are in any kind of leadership position, that we have to become a transparent via medium. Prabhupada used this term, a transparent via medium. And I was listening to a class of Srila Bhakti Chamaraj the other day where he was explaining that term, that what it means to be a transparent via medium. It means that there is there is nothing that obstructs between the object of vision and me who is looking at the object. So this via medium is like a glass. There is no dirt whatsoever which will obstruct my vision to see Krishna. That's the object always. We want to see Krishna, we want to be Krishna conscious. And the Guru, he is a transparent via medium, or whoever. Guru is always a heavy word. The husband, the mother, the temple president, the temple commander, that person should always be transparent via medium too, so that the person can see Krishna. A medium. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai. Shri Bornitai ki jai. A medium. No, you have heard this word. As medium, sometimes you meet people. They are a medium. They can show you something which is unseen to you. They have a better vision. Hmm?
Like a channel of Krishna.
Yeah, like a channel. Yeah, that's a nice word. The media, we see the media like social media. They show us something which is far away.
Yes.
Don't trust in that kind of media, though. And transparent means transparent, that it's like glass, you can see through.
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear, which is not God by any material entanglements.
Exactly, crystal clear. So that's Prabhupada pointing that out. The leaders of this world have this duty to teach people how to surrender to Krishna. And that's why also Mahaprabhu himself came. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivadoya Kori Saprashada Siyadama Savatari. He came to teach this process of surrender. And everyone who follows in Mahaprabhu's footsteps is teaching that example as well. How to surrender. It's not so easy, this process of surrender. Even though it's simple, it's not so easy. It's simple, meaning it's not rocket science. There is 6 aspects to it. One has to be humble, one has to be self-surrendered, one has to accept everything which is favorable for Krishna consciousness and reject everything which is unfavorable. And one has to accept Krishna as one's maintainer and as one's protector. These 6 aspects combined, then we are on the path of surrender. And that's what Prabhupada came to give us. And that's what we have to keep in the forefront of this Krishna consciousness movement. It's about surrendering to Krishna. And this doesn't make sense for a person who is materially minded. Yeah, if we have a material consciousness, it will not make much sense to follow that process. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the life, the spiritual life is like, and material life, they're like day and night. They are completely opposite. And when it comes to these aspects, we have to practice that we maintain this sense of, now we speak about accepting Krishna as one's protector. We try in so many ways to protect ourselves. Now, there is insurance companies who make so much money by offering insurance to people. There's all kinds of insurances. But for a devotee who is actually surrendered, he doesn't need any insurance. Because the devotee, he doesn't have to lose anything. Nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to Krishna. So if he likes to take it, let him take it. And if he likes to protect it, let him protect it. And if I lose everything, I will never lose my relationship with Krishna. Even if I lose my body and if I die, my soul is eternal. And I know if I am in the right consciousness, then in my next life I can continue in my devotion service. And then the person will be fearless, because I don't have anything to lose. I don't own anything, therefore I can't lose anything. It's all an illusion. And then life becomes very sublime and blissful. So that's the teaching we get in this verse. To become fearless, we have to surrender to the fearless personified Krishna. And if he gives us his shelter, we will also become fearless. And then, and even before, we can teach others to also surrender to Krishna and become happy. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Just one question. In the beginning you mentioned that you wanted to marry Krishna, but she still had to marry somebody else. I don't really understand why Krishna would want us to marry, even though we see
I was also chanting, when we chanted the Mangala Charan, He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. That's one name of Krishna, is Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta. Kanta means husband. But if you look what's happening, he's actually, Radharani has another husband, Abhimanyu. And many of the gopis, they are married. So why? Why would Krishna want that? He's on that level, of course, it's because it's facilitating the highest expression of love. That's why Srimati Radharani and all the gopis, they are married to someone else, which is an illusion. It's actually not, from a perspective of tattva, means from, if you look at it, what's really in essence happening, they are not really married to someone else than Krishna, and their husbands never touch them, because they are Krishna's internal potency. They are never contaminated by anyone else. No one can enjoy them except Krishna. But still it appears that they have someone else as a husband, and this is because it helps. Then the relationship becomes what they say parakya, Parakia means between a lover and a beloved. It's not marriage, but it's an affair. And that makes it more exciting and more intense.
But that's still not real love, right?
Hmm?
That's still not real love. It's only towards Krishna, or
With their husband?
yeah.
Yeah, they only love Krishna. That's their only object of love. But still it's maintained, that situation. And now in the example of this princess, Srila Rupa Goswami gives a very nice verse about this situation. I don't know the Sanskrit, but he says that if a woman has a paramour is an affair with another lover, except her husband, she will perform her duties at home even more nicely, because she doesn't want to be detected. She wants to make sure nobody understands what's happening in secrecy. And that's the mood we should adopt, that internally we completely surrender to Krishna. He's our protector, our maintainer, our lover. But externally we do so many things. And we try to do them in the best possible way. And that could be one example how in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says there are so many people in this world, actually everyone, they are attached to material happiness. And so the Vedas, what they try to teach is how do we purify ourselves slowly so that we can come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. And to this we have to follow certain rules and regulations. Everyone has the sexual desire in this world, but then the scriptures say how to do that. You get married, and you marry only once, and you, when you have sex, you take the children, and you take care of these children nicely. And in this way, the whole thing becomes purified, and it's raised to a sublime platform where everybody can benefit. Even though sex desire is, as Prabhupada says, it's abominable, which means you should actually spit on it. It's disgusting, but you take it in a very nice way, so it becomes helpful. And then Krishna says, even those who don't have a desire, and Krishna then says, I don't have a desire to come to this material world and perform and enjoy and do all these things, but I do it to teach all the people in this world how to live a life based on the principles of Dharma, these principles. And that's why Krishna might want someone to do something, so that those who are not on that stage, they can see, that's how you're supposed to live a good life. And if you are internally surrendered to Krishna, it actually doesn't matter what you do externally. Sometimes it even helps, like in the case of the gopis, that external obstacle becomes something that helps them to love Krishna more, to serve him better. And in our life, this can also, often we have a plan how we become Krishna conscious, but it's not so easy. Krishna knows, he's the doctor. Keshav Swami in the class the other day, he said, I think it was there, Devamrita Swami was asked, what's the best service? And his answer was, the best service is where you have to cry out to Krishna the most. And we usually want to do the service where we feel comfortable and everything is nice and we don't have any stress and no anxiety. But how will we come to the platform of, I don't care if if people insult me or they praise me, if it's hot or cold, all these dualities, as long as we are in the duality, we are contaminated and we are not really on the pure stage of devotional service. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nashochati Nakangshati Samasarveshu Bhutisho Mat Bhaktim Labhate Param. Only when you're free from the duality, then you can really serve Krishna nicely. And sometimes that's one reason we have to do it, especially if we are immature, then we, for example, we get married, so we get purified. And as long as I want to run away from my duties because it's burdensome, I don't like to do it, then I'm in the dualities. Because for someone who is Krishna conscious, then they don't feel any difficulty with anything. Does it answer your question? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So time is up. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Surrender to Krishna. Accept him as your husband, even the man. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Rajmundry to Kool.